Have you ever had a fight with your mom or your daughter if you're a mom and you tried everything to resolve the issue, to fix the problem, and one person or the other just didn't want to put as much effort into it as you did? If so, this might be the channel for you. The reason I say that is because my mom and I had a tumultuous relationship, very rocky. I actually call the relationship a roller coaster ride because there were so many ups and downs, and I felt like I was stuck on that roller coaster and could never get off of it. Until one day I had had enough and I said, I'm not going to be on this roller coaster anymore. And that's when I ceased all communication with my mom. 3 years later, she passed away in July of 2020. For 3 years prior to that, we had not said a word to each other. And that's not what I wanted. My mom had me when she was 19. My biological father and her split up shortly after I was born. I feel that my mom wasn't a good mom to me when I was little. I've heard stories of people saying that she'd leave me in the car and then go into a bar and they would go drinking. I don't really know. I wasn't there, and not everybody can tell me all the details. It's just I've heard bits and pieces of different things over my lifetime. She's told me herself that there was times where she didn't know what to do. I would stand in the middle of the room and scream. So she'd put me in a closet. She'd throw water in my face, do different things. And when I hear that, the first thing that comes to my mind is, what? That's not what I would do with my daughter. My daughter was standing in the middle of the room screaming. I'd go over to her and ask her, what's wrong? What's going on? So just that little bit of a tidbit tells me so much. Like, who does that? Why was she that frustrated with me? What was going on at the time? And to me, it boils down to she wasn't a very nurturing person. When my stepfather got custody of me, I was separated from my mom for 10 years and he abused me. So I ended up coming back to live with my mom when I was 14. And when I came back to live with my mom at 14, again, she wasn't a very nurturing person. And we got into a lot of arguments over a lot of stupid things. And I could never understand why. There was a lot of things about our relationship I just couldn't understand. In my mind, I'm thinking, we've been separated for 10 years. Sometimes parents who get separated from their children, even for a brief period of time, let's say they're in a mall and they get separated from them and they see them again, they're so thankful and they get down on their knees and they hug their child and say, oh my God, I thought I lost you. And from that moment on, you're more hyper aware of what can happen, and you might be more clinging or might be watching them a little bit closer because you're afraid that that would happen again. But that never seemed to be the way my mom responded. So I understood from a very early age that my mom was very emotionally disconnected from my relationship. And I know that she went through a lot of things, and I understand that. But I was raised in that environment and I became a mom at 20. I was married at 20. I had my daughter when I was 21. We bought a house when I was 21. I had all of those same responsibilities, if not more than what my mom had at the age of 19. And yet I was able to overcome that. And that was something that I struggled with. I swore up and down I would be a good mom, and I turned out to be a good mother. My daughter's almost 30 years old, and she can attest to that. Have I done everything perfectly? No. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Have I done everything the way that I didn't want to do versus what my mom did to me? No. But I have changed a lot because I chose to learn. I chose to make those changes. And that was something I could never understand, that I was able to do that and my mother wasn't. And after my mom passed away, I kept questioning myself, why? Why couldn't she do that? And I'll probably never have the answers to it. Mothers and daughters tend to expect each other to be perfect, right? And we're not. We have to have grace in a relationship. We have to have forgiveness in our relationship. We can't just expect that either one of us is going to be perfect and everything will be hunky dory all the time. But at the same token, when are you willing to make a change in your life without losing the relationship? And that was something I struggled with for many years. I kept trying with my mom over and over again, and I would get nowhere. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get a different result. That's just not going to happen unless both people put forth the effort in the relationship. But that doesn't mean we can't move forward, right? Doesn't mean we can't make those changes in our lives to help ourselves. I can't control or couldn't control what my mom did, but I could control what I did. And I was very proud of myself for being able to continue to try multiple times for over 2, 3 decades before I finally just gave up. And I didn't give up in the sense that if she had reached out to me, I wouldn't have reached out back to her. But I gave up in the sense that unless she put forth effort, I wasn't going to continue trying because there was no point to that. And with my relationship with my daughter, I learned even more so that you don't give up. And I've always told my daughter, I will never leave you no matter what happens. We will always work through things, but we both have to put forth that effort. And my daughter and I were at a point where we really had a tough time getting along. And it was very rough. And I thought my relationship with her was going to end up like my relationship with my own mom, where we would end up not even talking to each other. But fortunately, we both put forth the work and repaired our relationship. And now we're doing awesome. We go out and do things together. We have a lot of fun together. It's a two-way street. That's because we put forth that effort. So, what happens when the other person doesn't put forth the effort? How can you continue to try? How can you continue to move forward? When should you say enough is enough? And those are the discussions that I want to have through this channel. My name is Katrina Augustine, and my mom passed away. My aunt let me know that she wasn't doing well, and I decided to travel from Texas to Wisconsin to see her. I sat questioning for nearly half a day. Do I make that long trip? Do I fly? Do I drive out there? Will I make it in time? Should I even put forth the effort? What should I do? And I went back and forth with that, but then I decided that I needed to do this for myself. I needed to show her that I loved her. I always had. I had never judged her. I had never felt like she wouldn't have been a good enough person. I just simply wanted her to show me that she wanted to be in my life, that she loved me enough to put forth that effort. So I did. I went out there. I made it in time. My daughter came with me. My grandson came with me. And we got to see her. And she did pass away 5 days later. But I will never regret that decision. I told my mom on her deathbed that I loved her and that I always have loved her and that I forgave her. And I felt like my mom was able to die more peacefully because of that. However, it was extremely hard because I never got the I'm sorry from her. I never got an explanation for why she treated me the way that she did. And I'll go more into depth about some of these things as we go along in this channel. I just wanted to tell my story, get it out there, and I hope this will inspire others to have this discussion. Put your comments down below because I'd love to hear what you have to say. What do you think? One thing that you wish your mom or your daughter could understand about you? What are some things that you've been frustrated by and wish could change, but maybe the other person isn't putting forth that effort. But I also want to hear the positives. I want to hear from the mom and daughters who are actually having a great relationship. What did you do to continue that? Why have you never had bumps in the road, so to speak, for a lengthy period of time? I mean, we've all had issues and arguments, right? But my daughter and I were pretty much at odds with each other for a couple of years. And I now understand more why that happened, and we'll talk about that in a later episode. I feel like this is a topic that mother and daughters know, but they don't talk about. We don't talk about it to each other as moms, daughters to daughters. We don't talk about it with our moms. We just don't talk enough about our relationships, specifically mother daughter relationships. They're so complex. There's so many things between mother and daughter relationships. It's so hard to narrow it down and talk about one thing or lump it as one thing. I want this to be an avenue where we can actually discuss this more openly. I look forward to all of your comments. I definitely will read them, and I would love to respond to them as they come along. If you've ever been in a painful relationship with your daughter or your mother, or you've needed to repair your relationship with your mother or your daughter, or just having growth in your relationship, those are all things that I would love to expand on, talk more about. Eventually, what I would like to do is interview some mothers and some daughters. I'd like to have my daughter come on my channel if she's willing to do so, and have a interview process between the two of us, or even just interview her side of the story, because there's things we don't think about with our daughters as moms, and there's things our daughters don't think about as a daughter until maybe they become a mother. A lot of times that's when we all understand things better, is when we become a mother ourselves. So, those are some topics that I would love to discuss. If you're interested and this sounds like something that interests you, I would love to have you subscribe. So, click the subscribe button, hit that like button, share this with anybody that you think would benefit from this information. I look forward to growing this channel with you, having all of your input, having a place where we all can go to get some healing, but also to inspire one another, to help one another, to really show that, yes, we can have complex relationships, but we can also do the work to make them better, better than before, better than yesterday. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for coming into my life and learning a little bit more. And I hope to learn more about you. So thank you so very much. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.